She was once a study mate of NFL superstar Andrew Luck and this time a year ago was in Uganda examining the architecture of the African country's churches. On Saturday it will be very different for American Katherine Erickson, as she will be enjoying that very British, and somewhat curious, moment of fame that comes with rowing in the boat race when she sits at number 2 in the Oxford crew. With the women's race now elevated to parity alongside the men, she can boast one of the more unusual CVs of all the highly educated athletes pushing themselves to the limit in front of the mass throngs gathered along the Thames. Erickson, 28, was also a U.S. eventing champion as a teenager, who once harbored ambitions of riding at the Olympics before rowing provided a different outlet for her competitive nature. That was before she went to prestigious Stanford University in California, where she happened to be paired with the multi-talented Luck in her studies, prior to him going on to be the #1 draft pick en route to becoming the quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts. He and I did a project on the Bible together, an academic course on its origins, and we had to interview Baptist preachers, she recalls. He was the NFL #1 draft pick. We did the project together and he was really nice. He was an architectural theory student and in the same department as me. Really clever. He carried the project actually. He's a good guy, very cool. Luck was already destined to have long-term sporting profile and was on a rather more obvious sporting trajectory than his co-worker. I grew up on a farm in Massachusetts and my parents bred Connemara ponies, says Erickson. I grew up riding them and doing all sorts of competitions. I got into eventing at 13 and competed at the highest level and won the junior national championship at 17. I went to Stanford and competed in dressage for 4 years on the equestrian team. I was the first student to go to the national finals. After Stanford I spent a year back on the farm figuring out what I was going to do, deciding whether I was going to be a professional rider. In the end I sold my horses and that's how I was able to come to Oxford. She admits to having been a complete rowing novice when arriving in England. I was looking for a sport that was time-consuming and took over my entire life like riding had, and rowing was the best option for that. I had never set foot in a gym before Oxford. I'm stronger than I thought. I never thought of myself as strong and athletic before I came in October 2013. It's my 5th and final year. I'm studying history and Ugandan ecclesiastical architecture. It's an unusual subject. I'm looking at Roman Catholic churches they're built in the 20th century. I'm now in the 3rd year of a PhD after switching courses. Last year I was away doing field work in Uganda studying churches and living in Kampala. I was studying these 2 particular shrines. They are very cool, they look like spaceships. Rowing and riding have more transfers than you think. They both involve a lot of feel. In rowing you have to feel the water moving under the boat, feel what the other rowers are doing. When you are on a horse you have to feel what is happening with its body and how you can affect how the horse moves. Just like you're thinking all the time about how you are affecting the boat. Erickson has her head partly shaved on one side, and a large tattoo on her back which reads, "All glory is fleeting." I broke my neck when I was a teenager and it made me reassess. I wasn't sure I wanted to continue riding and I got my tattoo when I came to Oxford as a reminder to enjoy the high points you have because they might not come again. I've had an unusual path.